What's going on, guys? So, I think I'm getting cold or something, but I wanted to make this video basically about depression, anxiety, and other feelings similar to that, right? Now, in the society that we live in, a lot of people have anxiety and depression. It's not just like a small thing. A lot of people are diagnosed with anxiety and depression. I think one of the reasons for this is because of the life that we live. We live a Western life where we go to work, come home, go to work, come home, doing the same things over again, going to work just so we can pay the bills, not so we can actually do something we actually necessarily want to do. We as a human race, we're living a life that's not ours. Meaning, the reason why a lot of people feel anxious is because they can't be themselves. And this is just my personal opinion because this is just my personal experience from my personal experiences. And I've had anxiety. I've had depression. I've had, you know, these things are things that I've dealt with for years. Boredom, loneliness, anxiety, depression, anger. These are all the issues I've been dealing with since I was like 11 years old, and the reason why I want to talk about it is because one of the reasons why I used to get anxious is because I used to try to bottle up my emotions and feelings. So I would get sad and I'd want to cry, but instead I'd bottle it up. I'd get mad and want to scream, but instead I'd bottle it up. And then when something good happened in my life, I would just bottle it up because that's what I was used to doing, bottling up whatever. So I'd bottle up my happiness just as much as I bottled up my sadness. Because one of my theories here is that if you don't express one feeling all the way, you won't be able to feel the other feelings all the way. Meaning, when you're sad, if you don't cry when you're sad, then it's going to be hard for you to laugh when you're happy. And I think it's mainly because, we're beings of feeling. We're beings of emotion. Men especially like try to stay away from their emotions. They try to stay away from their sadness, I should say, because sadness and anger are two sides of the same coin. For me, as a kid, I would get mad, but realistically, I wasn't mad, I was sad. But I was taught that men don't cry, so because we're instilled in our head at a young age that men don't cry, it caused me to basically get, I don't know, just get mad, basically. Express the sadness as anger instead because that was more socially acceptable for a man. So that's what I did, right? As a kid, that's what I did. And that's what I've done. Until, I guess about 4 years ago is when I started looking at myself a little differently and started questioning why I act the way I do, why I do what I do, why I think the way I think, and I started changing the way I think, changing what I was thinking about, changing what I was doing, um, certain things like that. Mainly sometimes changing the ways I react to situations, but I would get rid of my anger, right? But then it would still creep out once in a while. So I'd still try to bottle it up because, I was also told that expression anger is a bad thing. So, as I got older, I was told that. Like as a kid, it was like, yeah, I'll be a tough guy. I won't cry. I'll just get mad instead. And now, it's more like, well, if you're an angry tough guy, then how could you be a peaceful, loving guy if you're just an angry tough guy, right? So now, it's almost looked down upon to express anger. Now, what all of this can do is it can cause anxiety. I think that my anxiety stems from a bunch of things, but one of the main reasons why my anxiety, was there is because I'd bottle up my things. I'd bottle up my feelings and my emotions. I would keep my mouth shut when it needed to be open. I would, when I need to be working on something, like to help my future, to help my kids' future, to, you know, work on my dreams basically, um, you know, I'll be sitting there maybe watching Netflix or something, and that causes anxiety. And it's like maybe sitting there watching Netflix, wondering why I have anxiety. It's like eventually, I realized why I have anxiety, because all anxiety is a built up of energy, a backup of energy. That's it. It's just energy that's backed up, and literally, to remove that anxiety, to remove that energy, you have to let the energy flow. So many people don't let the energy flow. And I think that's the reason why anxiety exists. You gotta let the energy flow. And if you have energy, then that means the universe is trying to tell you to put it in something. To put it into something. Put it into your dreams. Put it into your kids. Put it into being a better wife, being a better husband, being a better mom, being a better dad, being a better human. You know, put that energy into being a better you. I think that's what it's for. You know, and I really think that anxiety really stems from, like, now, like, the reason why I don't get anxiety, let me preface, I don't get anxiety right now. Like, right now, for the past year, I have not had anxiety. I've been battling with sadness, but I don't have depression. And yeah, I'm still battling with my anger, but I wouldn't say I have an anger problem anymore. I'm just learning how to express my anger correctly. Um Things like this, like, I've had to teach myself all these things, right? I've had to teach myself about myself, you know? Nobody can teach you about you. They can give you advice. Your parents can help you out. Your teachers in school can help you out. Like, your friends can help you out. Everyone can give you advice. But not all the advice that worked for me is going to work for you. We're different people. You got to know yourself. You got to know who you are. And really, I knew what was bothering me, you know? Analyzing myself, it's like, I'll just ask myself, why am I mad? Why am I sad? Why am I anxious? Why am I almost depressed? Why? Why? Start asking yourself why. You can get down to the bottom of why. Why are you anxious? Why are you depressed? Why are you this? Why are you that? And, you know, I think the anxious thing for me now, you know, about a year ago, why I was still anxious is because I was trying to hold back my anger. I was trying to say, I'm not going to express any anger. It's not healthy. No, that mindset is not healthy. The mindset that anger is bad is a fucked up mindset. Because telling somebody they can't get mad is like telling somebody they can't get sad. It's their emotions. If you don't feel one of them, it's going to be hard for you to feel any of them. And I feel like that's what I've realized, is that instead of me trying to get rid of my anger, instead of me trying to be like, I'm just going to be a peaceful, loving guy for the rest of my life. No anger, nothing but smiles. And it's like, no, fuck that, man. I get pissed off sometimes because I get fucking mad at myself. I get mad that I could be doing this and this and this, but I fucking don't. I get mad that it's like, I do dumb shit sometimes. I make dumb decisions sometimes. I fucking whatever, but I get mad about that. And I express that anger. Sometimes I'll be like, man, what the fuck, man? Like, this is bullshit. I know I could have did better than that. You know, it's like, sometimes I get mad. I'll yell. I'll fucking whatever. Like, but I don't think that's bad. I think it's bad that we as a human race are taught to not express ourselves. I think that's bad. And I think that's what causes anxiety. And I think that's what causes depression. Instead of trying to get rid of your anger completely and be a peaceful monk, why don't you look in the mirror and realize you're not a fucking monk? Realize that we live in a different society than a monk lives in. So I don't think it's necessarily healthy to be completely all day long. I think that's very dangerous because it plays into a part of what is real. Like, where's the real emotion? You know what I mean? So many people fake happiness, and it's like, and they have this misunderstanding of happiness, which is why I think a lot of people are depressed, right? A lot of people are depressed because they got this misunderstanding of happiness. And before I get into that, one of the weird things about depression is that, you know how people will be like, I have depression, and then they'll be like, and, somebody will be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, I hope everything's better. And then 6 months later, they'll still talk about, I still have depression. I'm going to see a therapist, but I still have depression. And this is what blows my mind. How is it that humans can stay in a sad, depressive mindset for 6 fucking months? But it's hard for anyone to stay in happiness for 6 fucking hours. And it's like, it's mainly because I think we misunderstand happiness. We misunderstand all these feelings, right? We're beings of feelings, but we're feeling these feelings wildly. We have no control. And we like most people don't gain control of their mind. You have to strengthen your mind, so therefore you can strengthen the connection you have with your emotions, and therefore you can strengthen the power you have because you are in control. Don't let your emotions control you. You control your emotions. And it's like you can hack your quantum computer. Your hard drive is your mind. Your body is your quantum computer, and you can hack the system. You know? It's something that I've done. I've used a lot of plants and herbs as well. It's not just me looking in the mirror, facing the problem, and doing whatever. It's that, then there's a lot of people that are on antidepressants and antipsychotics and SSRIs and, fucking Xanax and, Adderall. And there's a lot of people on a lot of substances. But what I do are just plants. I've realized that the main reason why people get put on medication for depression and anxiety and ADHD and all this other shit is because the human body was made to intake molecules. When it's lacking in something, it gets it from the molecules, it gets it from the plants. So a lot of times the doctors will give people medicine for depression, medicine for anxiety, which usually have more side effects, which cause more problems. It could fix your problem, but then it will cause another problem that you didn't have. And it's like that's usually how they go. Not all the time, but a lot of times, which is why I don't take antidepressants, which is why I don't take anxiolytics or anti-anxiety medications. That's why I don't take anything like Adderall for ADHD or anything, because I've been diagnosed with bipolar, ADHD, all this other shit, minor anger issue. I've been diagnosed with a bunch of things. But I think people just try to label you as shit because because people don't know who they are. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't know who you are, somebody can tell you who they think you are and you will believe them because you don't know who you are. And it's like, I know that I'm not ADHD, I'm not depressed, I'm not anxiety, I'm not these things. These things sometimes happen to me, and I can choose to do something about it, which is what I choose to do, which is why I've literally, over the past 2 years, I've literally tried about 30 different plants, about 30 of them, 30, not 3, not 13, but 30. And there's about a handful, I could say about 5 of them that have worked perfectly for me. So I think that, one of the main issues, like self-education, you have to get self-educated. Don't just lump yourself and say you have depression because thoughts create reality. That's why I don't say I have depression. Even if a therapist would say, yeah, you have depression, I would never say I have depression because then thoughts create reality. I am sad because I'm going through bullshit. So, yes, I'm sad. That's a normal human thing. You don't have to label it as something or label it as a disease just because you have normal human reactions in life. You don't need to go to anger management just because you yelled once or twice or just because you get mad. You don't need to go see a therapist just because you cry. You don't need to go, I don't know, there's all these situations in this society that we live in where it's like they try to make us seem crazy. It's like if you have anger, depression, anxiety, ADHD, nowadays if you're an addict, they make it seem like you are a weak, broken, unfixable person. And that's not true. You are the strongest being in the universe. It's just as soon as you realize you're the strongest being on the universe, you can do something. But right now, most people don't realize their power. So the depression and all this other shit has power over them. With anxiety, take that energy and do something. Record a video. I mean, what I started doing with my anxiety and depression and anger and all this is I started finding ways to do something about it. Whether that's taking plants, whether that's making videos, whether that's writing my book, whether that's making music, whether that's recording somebody's music, whether that's, mixing and mastering somebody's audio, whether that's whatever the fuck I'm doing, man. Like, I just put my energy into the things I'm doing, and that's that. So, I think more people need to spend time doing what they love to do, and then be a lot happier. I think more people need to spend more time looking in the mirror, because then they can see what the fuck the problem is. And then things will be good, man. Like, don't let depression control you. Don't let anxiety control you. And don't defend depression either. People will be like, oh, I can't do anything about it, I'm depressed. It's just, I was diagnosed with moderate depression, so it's what I have forever. And I think that's just a fucking bullshit excuse to keep being the way you are, to not change. People will come up with any fucking excuse in the world to not look in the mirror and to not change because, they just make up excuses. It's like, no more excuses. Start doing. Do something differently. If what you're doing now isn't working, then do the exact opposite. It's like trial and error. You know what I mean? That's why I tried 30 different plants, because, they didn't all work for what I was, for me personally. Some of them, honestly, a lot of other people say the other plants that I tried work better for them than the plants I use now, but that's for them, and for me, the plants I use, in my life work good for me. And eventually I'll make a video about all the plants and herbs that I use, but I just wanted to make this video because, yeah, depression and anxiety is something that is big in our society in this day and age, and, I think that really we can fix that as long as we fix ourselves. And if, it's okay, and let me preface by saying, you're perfect the way you are, if that's what you think. If you look in the mirror and you're fine with yourself, you don't have to be, I don't know, like if you're a guy, you could be whatever. You don't have to be a bodybuilder to feel good about yourself if you're a man. You don't have to have a beach body if you're a woman. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to own a business. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to chase your dreams. You don't have to do any of this. And I don't want anyone to feel bad if they're not chasing their dreams, if they're not whatever, if they, if they don't work out, or if they have depression or anxiety. I don't want people to feel bad about it. I want people to do something about it if they choose to, if they want to. A lot of people would be like, this is what you need to do because this will work, and it's like, no, you don't need to do anything. I'm just on this camera expressing myself, expressing what was on my mind, and this is just what was on my mind, and I think that we need to start expressing more of what's on our mind, and it'll make us feel so much better. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Don't ever forget how amazing you are. Don't ever forget how powerful you are, and you can change everything if you want to. So, peace out, everyone.